Hello, I'm Karen Elgersma at Tod Inlet, and we are going to go on a berry hunt. And you're watching Go Island on ShawTV. On today's show, Meg Cuthberg and Raji Kabli have gone mad for Mount Finlayson. And we meet one of the winners of the Canadian-wide Young Entrepreneur Award contest. All that and much more on Go Island. Hello, thank you so much for joining us on Go Island. Oh, I am so excited today because we are taking you on an edible journey, an adventure in Tod Inlet in beautiful Brentwood Bay with expert botanist, author Richard, who wrote a field guide to edible fruits and berries. And I have brought some friends along today to help us find some berries. And I'm telling you, they've already discovered something. Richard, what do you have here?
So we're standing here beside a thimbleberry bush, and look, there's some ripe thimbleberries. They're kind of like raspberries, but the little bits that make up the berry are much smaller. And maybe you can pull that off there, Amelia. Does it come off? It comes off, and it looks like a thimble because you can put your little finger in
that's
there.
Awesome.
Here she goes. Look at that tongue.
Is it tasty? Yes.
Look at that. On the side of the road, a wild native berry from British Columbia. Here you can snack your way while you're walking the trail. So thimbleberries grow like big shrubs with nice soft leaves.
Oh, they are
really soft and gentle. Here, do you want to feel how gentle they are? Aren't they beautiful? And they have white flowers. The white flowers have passed, but they have now producing their fruit. So you got to learn how to identify the plant so that if you start eating the fruit, that you don't eat something that might not be good for your tummy.
This guide is a must-have for all families this summer because not only you get you outside exploring, but you'll come home with bucketfuls of goodies. You can make jam and jellies and eat your way through. Now we're going to head into Tod Inlet and see what we can discover. We're not going to eat as much because we don't like to eat in our parks. These are special and we want to keep them pristine. But before we do, we're going to head to another park, Mount Finlayson. Now I have hiked it a few times and I have to say I'm exhausted at the end. Well, imagine hiking it as many times as possible in a 12-hour period. I can't, but Raji Kabli and Meg Cuthberg gave it a try because Finlayson Madness is coming up. Oh, this just makes me tired watching it. Mount Finlayson Madness is July 12th. It is a great opportunity to get out there, get fit, raise money for the mustard seed as well as BC Parks. I don't know. I'm still on the fence of whether I'm going to do it or not because I always find at Mount Finlayson I get that spot where you've got to crawl up the rocks and I get a little nervous, but I don't know. When I'm with Richard, I get really excited about being outdoors. Why? Because he is a botanist who makes me get excited about the nature around us, and better yet, to pause and take a look at some of the edible treats that Mother Nature creates for us. What do you have there, Richard?
Well, now we're going to bend down here and take a look here. This is salal with its big evergreen leaves. And it produces a flower or a stalk with little white flowers like this along it. Now I brought some from home because I have my own forest, and those flowers turn into berries like this. Now they're not ripe, but there are so many salal bushes and there are so many berries that you can eat salal all day long in the forest. There is a picture of what these salal plants are going to produce, and it will be maybe another 2 or 3 weeks that you're going to have salal berries. If you're going to want to eat wild fruit, you have to learn to identify the plants and the fruit so that you make sure you don't eat something that might hurt you. So learn from your parents, read the guide. You're old enough to look into these guides and read the pictures, and then look at the plants.
We're going to head into the forest to discover some other goodies Mother Nature has created for us. But first, Raji Kabli met a young entrepreneur who herself got together with Mother Nature and created a product that won her a national prize. See what you can do when you pay attention to Mother Nature and make friends with her. You can win awards. Congratulations for winning Entrepreneur of the Year. Now, if you want to get to know Mother Nature a little better, get a copy of this guide, a field guide to edible fruits and berries of the Pacific Northwest. We're in Brentwood right now in beautiful Tod Inlet with Richard, who is teaching us how to discover the edible treats that Mother Nature created. Now, what are we looking at here, Richard?
Well, this young fellow over here, he asked me, what's this? Well, this is actually an edible berry. It's not quite ripe here. This is Oregon grape. And in our forests around here, like Salal, Oregon grape is everywhere, especially this particular species. And so you can see here, there used to be yellow flowers earlier in the season, so wherever you see these beautiful collections of yellow flowers coming out of the stem like this in the forest, you know later on in the summertime you could start looking for berries. And I brought this from my forest here, and on this you see the green berries here. You see them all? And you've got them too. The berries turn blue. Now, they're sour, but some people like eating sour things. Every once in a while I like to have a sour one. When they get really nice and blue and they get kind of a powder on the surface of them, you can pick them and you can make jams and jellies.
I love hanging out with you, Richard. You are such an incredible teacher, and I just want to spend like all day hanging in the forest with you. We are going to spend some more time with them, but we have to take a very short break. When we come back, we're going to give you a great idea on how you can make the most of your summer and more here at Tod Inlet. Another great way to enjoy your summer is to get out and explore our parks. And don't just, go for a walk. Take a guide with you, like a field guide of edible berries and fruits. Richard created a guide for all of us so that we know how we can eat our way through a forest. And not only can you enjoy nibbling all these lovely edible fruits, but it's fun just to discover them, because I had no clue that, for example, what you're holding is edible. Richard, tell us about that lovely red plant. And I've got one I'm going to eat in a minute here.
Now, I'm going to teach you a little lesson, because this is red elderberry. And when it's raw, you can't eat this plant, okay? Because it'll upset your stomach. But First Nations people used to collect it in large quantities and they would cook it. And then you could eat it. So this is one of these plants that you have to work with before you can eat it. Don't eat it in the wild, because some berries can upset your stomach and some actually make you very, very sick.
Now, what am I going to nibble on here, Liam? Do you remember what this is called?
Thimbleberry.
A thimbleberry. Good job. You're so smart.
Now, one other little quick thing while she thimbles her berry here is that we have other berries here. These are the flowers of the blackberry, and everybody knows about blackberries. Have you all eaten blackberries?
Yeah.
Are they really tasty? Does your face turn all purple? Yeah, I bet you it sure does. And it's blackberries. These aren't native, but they're everywhere, so these are good to collect. But how would you recognize one of these blackberries?
They're black.
They're black fruit. They're later than the ones that we saw earlier, which are the trailing blackberry. And they have big, long stems with big, big monster thorns.
Oh, right, because that's the key, right? Recognize the plant.
Recognize the plant before you eat it. So the big thorns on this tell you if it's got blackberries and it's got big thorns, you can still eat it, but you got to look out for those thorns.
We have to take a very short break, but go nowhere. When we come back, This Week in BC looks at a hot topic here in British Columbia, and more in beautiful Tod Inlet.
Now, will First Nations celebrate this landmark victory? Some worry that resource projects that underlie the economy will be tied up in the courts for years.
We are having so much fun hunting for all the edible goodies Mother Nature has created right here in Tod Inlet in beautiful Brentwood Bay. Richard, your guide is so delicious, just learning everything, but I'd rather hang out with you. I want to have an audio version of this. Tell us what you have here.
All right, along the side of the road in the sunlight, there's a plant called the Saskatoon Berry, named after Saskatoon and Saskatchewan. And it has white flowers earlier on, and then they ripen into these delicious purple berries. How'd you like to take one of those purple berries there? And you can make pies and wine
Want to try some?
and jam, whatever you want. And if you want to know how to use them to cook, talk to the grannies, because the grannies used to make food out of this all the time.
Richard, I want to thank you so much.
Absolutely.
It's been just
Pleasure.
amazing hanging out with you. I want to take you on every hike I go on, but at least I want to take your guide. And I want to thank you for hanging out with us, Amelia and Liam and Lily. It's been so fun to have children along. It makes me realize that getting out in nature with kids is like being a kid yourself. So thanks for coming along. And I want to thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Women's clothing provided by Tulip Noir. Casual designer fashions. Men's wardrobe by DG Bremner & Co. Menswear and accessories. Hair services provided by Salon J.